Hey, hey, welcome, welcome. Happy Wednesday, first Wednesday of December. I can't believe this countdown is like driving me. I don't know what to think about it. Like coming to the end of the year. But it's exciting. Thank you everybody for joining us today. We hope that you had a wonderful Thanksgiving weekend or day of grace, or if you celebrated whatever it is this past week, we hope you enjoyed it and you had a very good time with those that you love. And today we are here to talk about how do we move from stress to financial bliss. And I think as we head into the end of the year and the beginning of 2025, and after everything that's happened this year, this is a perfect conversation for today. And to do that, we have Erika Dox-Martinez, one of our valued members here at United Latinas and strong business owner. Thank you so much for being here with us today and sharing your wisdom with us.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
We're excited. So let's get right on it, right? You help people find that financial bliss. You're a financial wellness coach, which is actually something that I didn't know existed until recently, because it's either you heard about financial advisors or bankers, but never, bringing this um, intersection between finance and well-being. And it's actually, according to Gallup, financial well-being is one of the six important components of just your overall well-being.
Yes.
So I find that fascinating that that's what you do. So
Yes.
tell us a little bit more about that, and how, like, what's your personal experience? What's your mission? What do you want to
Sure.
accomplish?
Well, so I am a financial wellness coach, and what I do is help people break free from the financial challenges, and I help them do that by uncovering the BS that's holding them back. So that comes from like limiting beliefs around money, your money stories, let's say money trauma, things of that sort. And I help people learn the tools and strategies that they do need to build a solid foundation to be able to feel confident with their money, be more intentional with their money, and also to feel peace with their money. So that's where the wellness part comes in, is that we want to have a good relationship with our money. And in order to do that, we need to really understand what our relationship is in the first place. So that's what I help people uncover, because the habits are not going to stick. You can know how to do a lot of the things when it comes to your money, but it's not going to stick if you really don't understand the reasoning behind why you're spending how you do, or why you're not doing certain things that you want to do with your money. So that's what I help a lot of people do, and just heal from their finances as well. So that's where the wellness piece comes in. And trauma has been a big word that comes up a lot. And a lot of us
Yeah.
have money wounds and money trauma from a lot of the things that we grew up hearing or experiencing. So that's more of what I like to help people bring up and out, and have them heal from that so that they can live and fund the blissful vidas that they desire and deserve. So that's like where my name comes from too.
I love that. And you talk about something important, this stress and trauma that comes from money, from our relationship with money. But I didn't realize that I had that until recently when I heard about all of these terms, because I think from a culture perspective, it's not something that we know, that we understand. Money is just like either there or it isn't. And I think the closest relationship for many is, you know, putting it in the el cochinito, no?
Right.
Um, so I imagine that the first thing is to be able to recognize and understand how what is your relationship with money, and how it's impacting you, and how it's impacting, I think most importantly, or at least that's how for me it started to uncover, how it's impacting the decisions that you're making, and the
Exactly.
decisions that you're making, not only from a money perspective and a financial perspective, but on anything, on things that you purchase or you don't purchase, or things that you decisions that you make on how you're going to do your day to day, or your manage your investments or not, or put your business, or like, I don't think we understand the implications of that. So what are you seeing from your end? How do people get overwhelmed by these money challenges, and are they aware of them or not? Like, where do we start?
Yeah, so I think a big part of it is awareness. So awareness of what our feelings are around money. So I have a shift your money mindset workbook that helps ask a few questions that would bring up the stories for you, and then from there you can see how those affect your habits when it comes to spending or saving or lack thereof. So that's like one piece, becoming aware of that. And another part of the awareness that's key is, where is your money going? Like, do you really truly know intentionally where all of your money is going? So I know for me, when I was working before, I I I went to school, got a good job, was making six figures, and I was still in debt and had no savings when I got engaged. So that's kind of my aha moment. So I was like, how am I going to get married if I have no savings? And why don't I have savings when I've been making so much money? So that was kind of like, okay, it's time to get my stuff in order and really dig into why I was doing what I was doing and how I can learn to do better. So my husband Jose and I didn't get married until we were able to pay for our wedding in cash. That took 3 years, and
Wow.
a year later, I was debt free. So it took 4 years from the time we got engaged, for me to shift my whole financial situation around, because I was like, there has to be a better way. I'm not supposed to just live like this. But one of my money stories, if I can share, is I grew up with my dad calling us Puerto Ricans. So instead of Puerto Ricans. And with that mindset and that logic, it's like, all right, well, we have money, the rent is paid, food is on the table, like we're good. There was no more of like, the struggle was just a normal part of life. It's like, this is how we live because we're Puerto Rican. So then the more money we make, if we have that mindset, then it's like we're not building wealth, because first of all, I didn't know how.
Yeah.
And second of all, I was like, well, this is what is life. So if money comes in, money goes out, but it's up to us to decide to change the narrative. And I think that's what I help people do as well. So I knew my dad didn't have the tools or strategies to build wealth, and he didn't. So I knew it was up to me to figure that part out, and I didn't have to live in that belief anymore. So I think another big thing is choice. We have the power of choice. So what do we want to do with our money, and what do we want to believe, from what we've been taught, or what we downloaded, especially as children?
You like, I'm just jotting down like a ton of things that you're talking about, because I think you're touching on very important points that we need to understand. First, this part of the mindset and the narrative or the limiting beliefs or the stories that we inherited, right? Consciously or unconsciously, from our parents or from our environment or from just hearing others that we believe are similar to us. And even this understanding, I love your reference to Puerto Ricans, right? And like, I'm not from Puerto Rico, but even just that notion that you're poor, or that you are, just living day by day, or that you're not rich, or what rich means, and the negative connotation of that, right? We inherit all of these beliefs or these narratives or these stories of your current reality, and then you make it real because you believe that is true. So I love what you're saying about the mindset and shifting that narrative and the power of choice to be able to then own it and say, is this mine, and how do I want to now translate it? And the other thing that I want to touch on is this notion of the difference between money and wealth.
Hmm.
Because I think many of us, and I hear it from a lot of women and a lot of Latinas, the that it money is what you earn, but we don't have the understanding, or the physical component, but we don't have the understanding of what building wealth means,
Right.
and the bigger implications, not only for us but for our families and for the legacy and the community. And it becomes sort of, the impact has these amazing ripple effects.
Yeah.
So I would love sort of like your perspective and what you're seeing from your end in terms of these differences.
Sure. I was going to say I am currently conducting market research on professional women, and with what's coming in, that is one of the top struggles is learning how to save and build wealth. And the other one was budgeting. So those are the top two so far that I've been seeing. So in terms of building wealth, we're not taught how to do this. So, but the difference is wealth is something that's going to make you money down the line. There are investments, so like
Mhm.
assets, whereas money is money. It's money is a tool to be able to build those or to access those. And we need to learn to start using our money to make us more money and to use it to build wealth. So that comes in learning how to be able to use your money for you. And that comes with the part about being intentional with your money, but also knowing what your goals are. And if you're allocating your money to those goals and what you value as well. So it's more, and going back to like building up the foundation in terms of wealth, I think that that's another part is like managing money. A lot of people are they might be like, okay, I want to get out of debt, I want to save, or I want to go on vacation. There's so many different avenues, and managing all of that, organizing all that on our own is kind of a little bit tough too. So I think that's why it's really important to take the time and spend time with your money and figure these things out, or to get a coach that can help you do those kind of things. Because once the foundation is in place, then we will find the money that releases from there. Or if you want to earn more money, to be able to start allocating and using that money to you build your wealth, and like to start investing in assets to be able to build wealth. Because I think too, for me, when I was growing up, it's more like we're on survival mode and we just want to make sure
Yeah.
that the bills are paid. So once that's done, it's like, all right, even if you have extra money after that, some people just don't know what to do with that. And that's where, for my situation, when I met my husband, he had zero debt. So that was another piece that kind of was like, what? Like, there's people out there with no debt. I was truly, honestly surprised. And I was like, well, that's so amazing, because he has his income coming in, he pays his bills, and then the rest he can do whatever he wants with. And I was like, I want that freedom. To me, that was financial freedom. So that's when, when he came along, we got engaged, I paid off my debt. Then I freed up $1,500 after I paid off all my debt. Like, so then I was start learned how to use that money to start building my wealth. And I've have a net worth now of over 600,000. It went up now. So, and I was able to save enough to quit my job to be able to fund, me starting my own business. So all that happened in less than 10 years. So we got married 2015. So since then I've been learning how to save and invest.
I love what you talk about, because I think in a way it comes to this going back to the mindset, from what I'm hearing you, from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset. And I think that is the one of the elements of it. Because living on that survival mode basically is like, I'm just here. Like whatever comes in is going to go to pay my debt, or to pay my bills, or to eat, or to whatever. And therefore I don't realize, or I don't open myself to the thought that I can spend a little bit money or invest a little bit of that money to be able to get me out of that situation. So I imagine it becomes sort of like a self-fulfilling
Oh
negative
yeah.
cycle of survival mode, because it's that scarcity mindset
Yeah,
versus saying, I have the opportunity to turn this little piece into something that's going to get me out of that. And that's the abundance mindset.
for sure.
Does that resonate? Does that
Yeah.
make sense? I don't know. Like as I'm hearing you, I'm just connecting these dots.
Yeah, I think that's why it's so important to be able to share these stories, and we need to talk about money more. So I'm really grateful that you're giving me the platform to do so. So a lot of the scarcity beliefs too is I can't get out of debt. I can't save. People like us don't get rich. People like us don't invest.
Yeah.
So those two were mine, like some of mine, because I was like, there were no investors in my family. I didn't even know what that meant. Like I had to
Yeah.
research and learn how to do that myself. But I knew that there was other people, other women who were investors,
Yeah.
other Latinos who were investors. So it's
Yeah.
like success leaves clues, right? So look out and see that other people are doing it. You don't have to just stay in your narrow, what you see in front of you is not always, doesn't have to be your reality. Like we have the opportunity to change, the things that our parents did our best. I got a lot of downloads from my parents regarding money, but they did their best. They learned from what they learned from, but it's up to us to
Yeah.
continue to learn, but also to unlearn the things that are not helping us. So
Yeah.
that's another big part of this work.
Yes, yes. And hi to Heidi, hi Tina, hi Belky. Thank you for being with us. And yes, the term, the people like us term, right? It always has this influence that we need to going back to that power of choice. Like, how do we turn things around? So what would be like your advice to yourself, to that younger self, in terms of money or building wealth? Like some nuggets of wisdom here.
Yes. I think the first one that if I can go back and talk to myself would be to pay yourself first. So this is a concept I just learned about more recently because the budget that I was first introduced to was the 50-30-20. And what that one says is 50% to your needs, 30% to wants, 20% to your savings and your debt. So what I took that and interpreted to was 20% to debt, and there was no savings in there. So I really, and I think I heard somewhere that you should not pay up. Sorry, you should not save if you have debt because of the interest rates or whatever. So I did not save. That's why I got engaged and had no savings at all. So I don't believe that that's true. Warren Buffett says pay yourself first. And if I can go back and do that and implement that from when I started working at 14 years old, I would have had so much more money now. Even if you save 1%, 5%, 10%, it doesn't matter. It's just getting in that habit, especially if you have children like that are working or young adults that are working, have them implement that and save that money, because then as they get older and make more money, they can increase that percentage and it will be so much more beneficial to have less of us living paycheck to paycheck. Like I was so surprised I was living paycheck to paycheck, making so much money. I was like, that's ridiculous. And another thing Warren Buffett says, which I follow a lot of his advice because he's like the richest man in finance. He says to spend what is left after saving, not save what is left after spending. So that's a big one. That's pay yourself first. So if the money is out of sight, out of mind, automate that. And again, it could be just a little bit, just something to put to the side. Then you'll already be building up that cushion and that muscle to start saving, and you can spend the rest. It's up to you. So what I like to implement with my clients too is blissful spending plans. I don't call it budget because a lot of people don't like that word, but you get to decide where your money goes. So there's three things you can do with your money: is spend it, save it, or share it. So once money comes in, give it all a job. Give your money a job. So you get to decide what you want to do with it, and so that you're intentional and know where your money is going too. Like you have the control. So a lot of people feel like they don't have control of their money, but again, it's all a choice, and just taking the time to spend, figuring these things out a little bit and just loving your money and having a good relationship with your money.
I love what you're saying, because I think some of us are scared of the money, and I say it because for a very long time I was like you, like it comes in, and if I don't see it, like I don't have to worry about it. But actually, what it created was I don't have to worry about it, and therefore not being intentional then creates exactly what you're saying. This fear now of touching it, or of how it's being used. I love that. And the spend it, save it, share it. We're gonna make a post out of that because
Yes. Yes.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, one of the things that we have here at United Latinas, one of our pillars is to build your wealth, because we recognize that that is important. So 2025, we're going to do a lot more about that, because we have to stop being in that scarcity mindset. We have to be shift into that abundance mindset, not only for ourselves, but for our families, for each other, for our community. We've said this yesterday. We were in another United Latinas meeting, and we were saying $3.6 trillion is the impact that the Latino community has to the GDP of the United States. And I don't know about you, but I don't think I'm seeing it anywhere, right? Because the moment that we have the money, it goes out to other communities. We're
Mhm.
spending it somewhere else. If we would reinvest that 3.6 trillion that we are already generating, because it's part of our hard labor, instead of putting it out there for somebody else, to your point, putting it for us first, it would just like be amazing
Yeah.
what we could create. So that's going to be part of our goal. We are almost at time. Erika, what are your like last pieces of advice, piece of wisdom as we get into the end of this year, especially the holiday
Oh, the
season
holidays.
and then the beginning of next year?
Yes, for sure. Oh, another thing I wanted to point out, like track your money if you can. Use like a month to just jot down where you're spending your money so you can really see what habits you have around money, where your money's really going. And I was going to say December is probably not a great month to start that, but you can go backwards. If you use the same credit cards or debit cards, your banks actually do that analysis for you and will show you where
Yes.
your money is going. But I was going to say for Christmas, I host Dates with Dinero every Monday night, and it's just a co-working space where people come in and work on their money tasks in a Zoom room together. And I
Wow.
was telling them that next week to remind me to do my Christmas budget. So this is like perfect conversation. So what I'm going to do on Days with Dinero is to look at, okay, decide how much do I want to spend for Christmas. I know it's already like December, but I do Amazon Prime, so I'll be okay. I hope time wise. And I have to decide how much money do I want to spend for Christmas. Like my financial situation is not how it was when I was working in corporate, so I have to be realistic in how much I want to spend. So I need to figure out that number and then figure out, okay, who do I want to buy gifts for and allocate the amounts to them. And personally, what I do is then share, because I think it's okay to loud budget and talk about your money and your situation. Like people know I
Yep.
am an entrepreneur now, and this is my situation. So sorry, funds. It's not going to be, I'm the titi that buys everything, and so that's that's not the case. It's like, hey, I have this much amount of money I'm willing to spend on my niece. Do you know if she wants anything within that budget? If not, I can give you the cash and you can allocate it towards whatever she wants and things like that. So it's kind of like just being intentional, create a plan, have a plan, and execute on that plan and try to stay within budget. I know it's hard sometimes to do that, but again, we have the power of choice, and it's really beneficial for us to be intentional and have control and at peace with our money. Like that's really the essence of what I want to do and build out with Blissful Vida, and to have a community of bliss seekers who are really wanting to do better with their money and build that wealth, and to trickle this down to the next generations, because as we do better, they're going to do better. So it's really important
Yep.
for us to talk to our kids about money and really
Yep.
show them what we're doing with our money, because it's like, money taboo topic, especially in our culture too. It's like
Yep.
we don't talk
Yep.
about money. So if you're not contributing or you're not buying it, don't worry about how much it costs, right? It's interesting that there are a lot more people out here talking about it. So I appreciate again the platform, and I just want everybody to live and fund their blissful vidas because it's time and because we deserve it. So thank you so much for having me here.
I love that. And talking about culture, generosity, and Tina just mentioned it on the chat, right?
Yes.
Generosity is within our DNA, right? It's
It
within
is.
our culture. So let's that doesn't mean that we can't be generous with ourselves, with our families, with our friends, and still invest in others so that we can all grow. So thank you so much, Erika, for all of those words of wisdom. Thank you everybody for being here. Remember to join the community, unitedlatinas.mn.co. We are going to have in 2025 a full track of building your wealth, where Erika and many other of our financial coaches are going to help us, because we are building wealth, we are building power, we're building presence, and we are going to change the world. So thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your day, a wonderful holiday, and see you next week. Thank
Thank
you.
you.